with Sporting. Medical is set for this player and it is basically done. Julien Laurent still with us here. Jules, they got their guy.
Yes, finally. It took them a long time to get this one done. We knew that since the start of the window, pretty much it was between Sesko and Gyokeres. They looked at both. They initiated talks with both clubs, Leipzig and Sporting. And we said also from the beginning that it's difficult to deal with Sporting, to negotiate with them, because they want every penny. They keep changing their mind. Their president and is quite difficult in that sense. He just wants the value that he's decided for his players, and it doesn't always work like that. But eventually, finally, they've got Gyokeres. They wanted him for the start of pre-season. He's missed the start of pre-season and the first game friendly match against AC Milan, but he should be there now for the rest of it, and then obviously for the start of the season, which I guess is always the most important. We're not sure in what kind of fitness he really is, because he didn't really take part into the Sporting kind of pre-season tour, if you want, because he was on the move and he wanted to join Arsenal for a few weeks now. But at least they've got him. He's going to do his medical, and then hopefully he's going to hit the ground running for them.
So obviously the hope is that he will join up quickly. How does timing affect players when they're not there, Stevie, from day one of the pre-season in a new club and a new setup?
I think a lot of the time that's down to the individual. How coming in late can affect you. You know, if you get a real strong-willed, good character, then he'll just come in and play, and he won't be thinking about not being integrated with the team. However, if you get somebody in who's the type that needs an arm around the shoulder all the time, then it could affect them. But again, as always, when that happens, you don't get the answer until we're 2 or 3 games in to see whether he's actually... Does he understand what United are trying to do, Arsenal are trying to do? Does he understand the players around them, what they're looking for from him? Do they understand him? So all of these things that, if he had come in right at the start, by the time the season kicks off, all those fears are allayed, because you've spent enough time with everybody that they know your game and you know theirs. So a lot of it is down to him, but it's certainly not ideal.
No, it's always the sooner the better, right, Shaka?
It is. I'll go slightly differently on Stephen. I don't think it's that big a deal for a player of Gyokeres' age, experience and quality. Now, maybe if you're having this conversation about Benjamin Sesko at 22 years old, you want to come in a little bit sooner. But for somebody, Gyokeres, as I say, a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, I think he hits the ground running. It's well enough ahead of the start of the season that he just slots in, he finds his rhythm rather quickly. I don't think that is as much of an issue for a player of his quality.
You mentioned Sesko there, Jules, and it's obviously something that's going to come up in tonight's show anyway. But when they're looking at those two players, why Gyokeres over Sesko for Arsenal?
It's a different profile to start with. I think Sesko was seen, and rightly so, as not really a lethal goal scorer. He's never had more than 13 league goals a season, for example, whereas Gyokeres is a proper number 9 in that sense, in the terms of being a finisher style, if you want. He's just an incredible goal scorer and finisher. Sesko is an all-around probably better player than Gyokeres. He's a bit like Havertz in the sense that there's a lot of things he can do. He can pass the ball, he's great at pressing, he can link up the play, he's strong in the air, but he's very good technically for his size, he's quite quick. That you have it, but in a way you already have it a little bit with Havertz, whereas for Gyokeres, that profile of a number 9, of just a finisher in the 6-yard box, one-touch finish, one-time finish in the box, one-touch, all of that. This is Gyokeres, and you don't really have that, because that's not what Havertz is, that's not what Gabriel Jesus is. Even a Trossard as a number 9, or whoever you want to play as a 9, this is not what they are. So I guess in Gyokeres, you just have that profile. And yeah, he's maybe a little bit older than what they would have liked, because he's 27 already. But I think he's got that profile that they were missing, and that they needed more than Sesko, who in a way they have a bit of, because Havertz is quite similar.
Yeah, I suppose one thing we do know, to Stevie's point, Shaka, is that Mikel Arteta is definitely a manager who can put his arm around this player.
Absolutely, isn't it? And Mikel Arteta certainly has gotten the best out of the players. We've questioned some of the signings, but he's gotten a tune out of most of those signings, a couple of exceptions, of course. And I think Arteta does that. This is a player that they've needed for quite some time. Finally, they've landed. And right now, all signs are it's a very, very good signing.
Yeah, obviously we're talking about strikers and goal scorers.
boy.
So you probably know where I'm going to go next, right?
Yeah, I know exactly where
Would you
you're
like
going to go
to
next.
tell me where I'm going to go next?
Oops. First of all, I blame you,
Don't blame me.
Kay, and I blame you, Stevie. You with your Middlesbrough ways,
fine with that.
you with your Liverpool
I
ways.
think you might have.
Christian Norgard. Now, he's getting to know his new Arsenal teammates after being offered an opportunity he just couldn't turn down.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but for me, it was a chance to represent Arsenal at the age of 31. I was coming to a later stage in my career, and I signed a new deal with Brentford. But when the interest came from Arsenal and my first talks with Mikel, it was very clear to me that I would do everything to be able to play here, because to get this adventure, to be part of a team that has so big ambitions, is for me amazing step to take this stage in my career.
Last season again, we learned that with the depth that we had in the squad, the numbers in the backline, it wasn't enough, and Christian is going to help us a lot in that. He has different qualities that what we have in the backline. He's going to add huge amount of hunger because he's so willing to come here and contribute to the team. And we have to give him a little bit of time to pick the ideas and to adapt here, but he's got great qualities to make us better.
So he's in. Fulham looking at an Arsenal player. Who's that?
Yeah, we mentioned it before. That Fulham in talks with Arsenal still over the signing of Reiss Nelson. Formal approach is expected to Chelsea as well over their midfielder Keane and Dewsbury Hall. They're also keeping an eye of Fulham on Raheem Sterling's situation at Chelsea. They're listening to offers for Sterling. Chelsea, that's no secret. That he had him on loan at Arsenal last season, didn't really work out for them. He's back at Chelsea now, but he's only got 2 years left on his contract. I think Chelsea would want to do some business on Sterling, but that one looks like it could be revisited later in the window, because I think the focus at the moment seemingly is on trying to get this deal done for Reiss Nelson and maybe seeing if they can get Dewsbury Hall as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. The promoted...
After Gyokeres, Arsenal have budget to sign Alexander Isak, BBC. Arsenal have the budget to sign Newcastle United star Alexander Isak this summer, after he told the club he wanted to leave after an approach from Liverpool, according to BBC Sport. The report by BBC journalists Bobby Jackson and Sammy Mokbel states that most Premier League clubs are unable to match Newcastle's estimated £130 million valuation, though Arsenal, who have been credited with an interest in the Swedish star in the past, have the budget to complete a deal. BBC, Arsenal have the budget to complete Isak deal. That is concurrent to a deal taking Victor Gyokeres to North London for now. Arsenal have turned their attention to Gyokeres, and are close to finalising a deal for his services, but the door may not be closed in terms of also bringing Isak to North London, as the talisman looks to venture away from a move from the League Cup holders, where he could end up in the English capital. Gyokeres has been given permission from Sporting to undergo a medical at Arsenal over the weekend, massively strengthening their attacking ranks after seeing large periods of frustration in the second half of last season, with Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus all out with injury, but a surprise deal for Isak would undoubtedly boost them to a top level. Gyokeres and Isak played together for Sweden, having scored a combined 31 goals for their nation, and a potential partnership forming in the capital as well as on the international scene could only be good news for the Gunners. However, it would likely mean that Isak would line up on the left wing with his dribbling ability, pace and finishing, marking him as the ideal inside forward for Mikel Arteta's lineup, despite his prolific form up front for Newcastle. Isak, dubbed world-class by Magpies legend Alan Shearer, has 54 Premier League goals for the club in just 3 seasons, made even more impressive by the fact that he missed almost half a season in his debut campaign through injury, and it's no wonder that he is on the radar of various clubs. £60 million star tells Inner Circle he's joining Arsenal after Gunners talks. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta are apparently wasting no time on another transfer pursuit, right after they finally sealed a deal for Sporting CP star Victor Gyokeres. The last month of their summer window has been dominated by their chase for Gyokeres. 2 weeks ago, Arsenal agreed a deal in principle to sign the Swedish striker for £64 million, paying a £55 million guaranteed fee plus around £9 million in add-ons. The Athletic, but talks were held up over the structure of the aforementioned bonuses goal. However, earlier this week, Arteta's side finally reached a breakthrough for the ex-Coventry City star, and Gyokeres is now set to become a new Arsenal player, Sky Sports. The 27-year-old, who scored 54 goals in all competitions last season, became Berta's primary target after the Gunners abandoned initial talks for RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko. After signing Gyokeres, attention is turning to their pursuit of a central attacking midfielder, as Arteta looks to add more creativity to his squad following their struggles against the low block last campaign. Arsenal confirmed Noni Maduek's arrival last weekend, but aside from Gyokeres, the England international is their only attacking signing of the window. Their deal for Maduek, which attracted mixed reviews from supporters, was apparently pushed by Berta. Maduek and Gyokeres, according to recent reports, could soon be joined by Crystal Palace playmaker Gyokeres. Gyokeres is convinced he's going to join Arsenal. Arsenal are expected to accelerate their plans to sign Gyokeres, and journalist Graham Bailey has shared a very intriguing update in a piece for TBR Football. According to the journalist, Gyokeres has told friends that he's going to join Arsenal this summer, following talks with the Gunners, and it is reported that Arteta's side have held discussions with Palace too. It is by no means a certainty that Arsenal will formally make a bid just yet, according to the journalist, as Berta is known for spinning many plates at once when it comes to transfer targets, and Real Madrid's Rodrigo remains on their shortlist. However, Bailey is convinced that there is a strong possibility Gyokeres will sign for Arsenal by the end of next month. I am told that Gyokeres remains firmly on Arsenal's radar, and they have done plenty of work on him, said Bailey. There is a very good chance that Gyokeres will be an Arsenal player before the end of August. Gyokeres bagged 14 goals and 11 assists in all competitions for Palace last season, including their FA Cup final winning goal against Man City, and his release clause is believed to be around £60 million plus a potential £8 million if bonuses are reached. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta interrupted Mosquera signing to schmooze another young star. When Mikel Arteta spots an opportunity to get in the good books of a talented young player, he will seldom let it pass by. Even during the contract signing ceremony of Arsenal's newest signing, Christian Mosquera, the Gunners' boss produced a comical moment which could also help him secure a promising prospect. Mosquera was unveiled by his new club on Thursday, with Arsenal completing a £13 million deal to sign the 21-year-old defender from Valencia. It was an emotional affair when the Spanish youth international turned up with his family to sign a 5-year contract, flanked by Arteta and sporting director Andrea Berta. While Mosquera's father was overcome with emotion, his younger brother, who himself is a capable footballer, was watching on calmly from behind the table on which Arsenal's new boy put pen to paper. Arteta then interrupted a chat between Mosquera and Berta to pay a compliment to the defender's fresh-faced sibling, as he grabbed the pen and said, "Let's take a picture of your brother so you can see him in the photo. For the future, he is very good." Whether the youngster goes on to follow in the footsteps of his older brother remains to be seen. For now, Arteta has more pressing matters to attend to, such as phasing Mosquera into a brand new group of players. The centre-back may have a tough time earning first-team minutes ahead of the established partnership of William Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. But he says that getting better will be his main motivation during the betting-in process. "Coming here is a chance to keep learning and improving," Mosquera told the Arsenal website. "I'll be working with great players and a top-class coaching staff, so that will help me develop personally. I'm a player with a lot of energy. I'm young, so I still have plenty to give. I'm fully motivated and excited. Above all, I want to improve, which will create competition within the squad. I'm really happy." Arteta, whose players are in the midst of a preseason tour in Asia, wants to integrate his new signings as soon as possible. With Noni Maduek, it wasn't possible because he needed some time after the Club World Cup, and he's going to take a short vacation. But the others, if we can do it immediately, I think it's better, so they can start to join the team, get to know each other and get the ideas that we want to put in the mix.